Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for your AC Milan versus Chelsea preview. Good morning. In the UK, we have woken up wise and early to get you this video. And listen, let me let you know right now that this is the big one, okay? Last week was massive, but this is even massiver because we have to win. You know what? You know why I say that? Because I want to top the group now. I've got that confidence flowing through my veins. I've got that pep in my step, okay? I'm feeling breezy, I'm feeling light, I'm feeling crisp. I'm wanting to see wins. I feel fantastico and I'm looking forward to this match now. Now that this mood has changed, this atmosphere has changed, this environment is looking strong. This is what we want, and we want to move into this fixture and hopefully do damage. Now, of course, AC Milan are going to be difficult to play. We've got an AC Milan expert joining us as well later on in the video to give us his analysis, to give us his expertise, to give us his insight. But before we do that as well, make sure you follow on the Twitch. That is, how are you getting that wrong? Your sign is right there, you twat. Bang! It's right there. Make sure you follow the Twitch, and whilst you're doing so, watch out for that watch along later today, because I will be doing the AC Milan versus Chelsea watch along, and I will be playing my live in play league as well. So make sure you're following that, and in that league, in the link in down description, it's free to play, it's free to download. It's a lovely fun game to do while you're watching the match. And like I said, you slide in free players, you slide them out 10-15 minutes max. Make sure you do the timings right. That sounds mad, but it's difficult. But if you get the hang of it, it's a whole nother level, because now you're starting to understand the game and you're watching it and you're like, yo, this could happen. Bang, slide that in. And then it actually happens. Like I said, when Chelsea were absolutely dominating on set pieces against AC Milan, but they weren't really having too many shots, I said to myself, I'm going to slide in some defenders. And bang, next thing you know, one scores. And I'm looking crisp in the light. So, you know, it's just testing your game understandings. Like I said, you can play with friends as well, but make sure you don't just disgrace me and leave me out of that. That ain't no job. Make sure you join my league as well. And like I said, it's the best way to follow the games live, because you're getting the statistics, you're getting all the attributes, everything that's happening, the tackles, the interceptions, the goals, the assists. All the little points are being added up, and it's all there clear on your damn screen. So make sure you're doing it. And it's only one-off matches, so you don't have to worry about if you haven't joined before. It's one-off games each game, and you can play with me, link in description. Now, for me personally, very important, I also say, I think this game is a massive game for Potter and for the team. Yes, we want to stand for Bridge, but now we're going to the San Siro, a classical, traditional, historical stadium. And it's an opportunity to now double down. You know, when you feel like you're right, and we do feel like we're right. We won 3-0, and Tomori's telling us, no, we're AC Milan. We're different. That's not the real AC Milan that you saw. The AC Milan that is really going to come to the fore is the one that beat Juventus, which I scored in 2-0. And he's giving it us some lip. And I like it. I like the confidence. It's Cobham confidence is what happens. Cobham confidence. It's a thing. But we have to be like, nah, bro, you've got the game twisted. You know what we're like. And we're going to double down and show you, yes, we're going to do that to you again. Another pasting. And it's going to be different. We're going to talk about it with the AC Milan fan, because there is a lot of extra variables that have been sprinkled on top of this game. Injuries, incomings, players coming in, players coming out. That will change the flow of this match. But for me personally, like I said, I'm confident, and we're going to get into that opposition analysis, and then we're going to return with my final verdict. Sure. So there we go, guys. Bringing you now into the collaborations section with Kush and the Milan corner. Really looking forward to having him on before some detailed questioning on this AC Milan team, because obviously what we saw in the first game last week didn't really feel like the real Milan. Tomori's come out and said that in his quotes as well. So it's very important that we get the AC Milan perspective. First of all, bro, how are you? How are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. So, I mean, from an AC Milan perspective, obviously you guys, you know, in the other game didn't really look at your best, even though I did feel like you competed in moments in the game, and you obviously tried to have some possession as well. But there were some players injured as well. Like in the back line, it was pretty weakened. We saw that you had a little bit of an injury crisis. Some people were saying, you know, 7-8 players, half of those players probably maybe playing your starting 11. Theo Hernandez is back now, isn't he?
Yes, he's back.
Yeah. So that helps massively.
Fikayo Tomori unquestionably had his worst game no doubt about it since he's joined. I was hoping he'd have his best, but it was the exact opposite. So I can understand he was frustrated. But having Theo Hernandez come back, that's going to be a big boost because now you'll be able to see a little bit more of the Rafael Leao attack because he complements with Theo Hernandez perfectly.
Yeah.
But we're still pretty weak on the right. So hopefully just being at the San Siro helps there.
And in terms of this attack, we didn't really see much of Giroud in that game at Stamford Bridge. He obviously doesn't have the pace to maybe get himself into the game. He's obviously looking for that service and that link-up play. But at the San Siro, what kind of challenges do you think you guys are going to pose? Like, do you really feel like this is going to be a completely different kind of game in terms of what we saw last week, in terms of what should Chelsea be most worried about, I guess, from an opposition standpoint?
It really depends how many players we can get back. If we can get back one of the other 3 players that we lost, I think it'll be a little bit more balanced. Right now, we're still once again left heavy with Theo Hernandez coming back. I think the one thing that you have to keep in mind is at the San Siro, Milan's a relatively different team. So they do tend to dictate pace a lot, the tempo of the game. And coming back to Olivier Giroud, I think one of the reasons why he wasn't as involved is because Serie A tends to be a little bit more tactical and a technical league, whereas Premier League teams, if they're dominating the game, they're more pace and tempo. I don't think Giroud is really part of that gameplay anymore, being 37. He's more of the hold-up play, and Milan's kind of creating things around him. But if we lose possession, we have a harder time getting him involved, which was what was happening. First 10 minutes at the Stamford Bridge were pretty good. And then Chelsea just took over. So I think you'll expect a little bit more of controlling of the possession from Milan at the San Siro.
You've been playing a 4-2-3-1 a lot. We tend to throw up a lot of tactical surprises in terms of our formations, our systems. We are very unpredictable in that sense. We never really stick to one particular way of playing, especially under Potter. We've sometimes defended in a mid block from a pressing standpoint. Sometimes we press high up. Is Milan used to coming up against those different systems and adapting to that, or will you guys be more stubborn and actually stick to your game plan and try and, like you said, impose yourself on us, or can we maybe make you second guess yourselves and do you guys have that tactical versatility to switch? Because we see sometimes managers, they just refuse to switch. They will just do what they're doing and nobody's changing that.
We did switch our formation against Juventus over the weekend. So Milan played like a very old school Christmas tree formation, 4-3-2-1. And it worked. They completely dominated Juventus 1-2-0. And so for that reason, I feel like Pioli's not one of those stubborn guys. Mostly he does play 4-2-3-1, but clearly he's willing to adapt. So that could again happen against Chelsea too. With you guys, it's a little bit different. New coach, he's still probably trying to figure out his systems. So I can see why he'd move things around. But I think we are pretty much set in what we have because we've been playing this for the past couple seasons. But he'll still switch it around if he needs to.
Any fresh injuries for you guys, team news wise, as well, in terms of like going into this game that from who we saw last week?
Yeah, so Milan purchased Charles de Ketelaere from Club Brugge over the summer, 36 million signing, probably one of the biggest signings in Milan's history because we're not big spenders. So for them to fork out that kind of money with the new owners coming in was pretty big. Well, he's out, but might be a blessing in disguise.
Really? Because he was one of the players I highlighted that is like a unknown quantity in a way because he's so young. Physically, he's got all of these attributes and aspects to his game. I thought he might be someone to watch out for. You're saying it's a blessing.
Oh, he is. He's definitely one to watch out for. No question about that. I think 6'4" or something, has like moves really smooth like a shorter player. And his vision is excellent, but at the same time, he hasn't been hitting good form. He's just he's not what we need him to be. And at the same time, Brahim Diaz, Real Madrid loanee with Milan for the past couple seasons, he's been really good. And this season with CDK coming in, he hasn't really, it hasn't bogged him down. He's taken the pressure pretty well, and he's actually been performing really well whenever he comes on as a substitute. So against Juventus, I think he started and he dominated. He played really well. So I think I have actually been a little bit more excited to see Brahim Diaz come on the pitch. I think there's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more, he brings some electricity to the field. So I'm kind of optimistic about it. I'm not going to miss CDK too much.
That's insane. I actually thought that he was going to be like a guaranteed start. Now you're telling me he's out. I'm quite interested. Is that partly why you changed to the Christmas tree formation, maybe to get Diaz maybe more inside?
I believe so. I believe that was the reason because I think CDK he's definitely injured. So it's not like it's a decision to drop him. He's just not going to be an available player. But Brahim is good, man. He's really because one of the problems Brahim Diaz used to have was he was easily out-muscled over the summer. The guy bulked up, put on a lot of weight, and he's a lot stronger now. So defenders have a harder time pushing him off. And he's been doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. And let's talk about Rafael Leao, because obviously he's kind of like the star, the glitz and glamour, the guy that everybody talks about when they talk about AC Milan at the moment. Like it's the main player, the big attraction. And obviously we've been linked to him a few times as well. He did get the beating of us a couple of times on that left-hand side, especially towards the end of the first half where he created that massive opportunity, skipping past 2 or 3 players. Do you think he has what it takes to get the beating of a Reece James, who for us is like our creme de la creme? Like he's probably our best player. And he's, for me, one of the best right backs, if not the best right back on the planet. So do you feel like Rafael Leao has it in his game to take apart a player like Reece James? Or could we even see Rafael Leao switch to the right? Has that ever happened before, where a player maybe he hasn't been able to get the better of and he's moved to the right flank and still been effective?
There's no chance of Leao moving to the right. That's not going to happen. He's definitely going to stay on the left. He's going to, duel it up with Reece James. As you said, right before halftime, you did see that move. He can do that a lot often. The only problem is he didn't have his partner in crime there. He didn't have THEO HERNANDEZ. Usually THEO HERNANDEZ gives him that extra option, so Leao can make those moves a lot more fluidly. And when THEO is there, it'll be harder for your players to double team Leao, because you're going to leave THEO free. We're happy with that too. If Leao can just take the pressure off and just pass the ball out to him. So I think in the second leg, you're going to see a little bit of a different Milan on the left flank. And man, Leao he's really becoming something.
And when we talk about Milan as well, in terms of that's a strength, a key strength, of course. And Giroud's obviously still doing the business as well. In terms of weakness, what should Chelsea be looking to, in terms of maybe your predicted lineup? If you could give us maybe what you kind of expect to see out there with the injuries as well. It's probably not the hardest to do, but like, is there any person in your predicted lineup where you expect them to play, but you're not happy to see them, you're not overwhelmed to see them, and you're thinking Chelsea could target them and could cause them problems?
Yeah, depends if Kier is going to be back or not. Because if we don't have Kier back, and it's Tomori and Kalulu playing as center backs, that will likely mean that Dest plays as a right back.
Okay,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
that's going to be a problem. The right flank is going to be an easy place for your players to go through, because Dest is just not it hasn't seemed to be a very good defender. So that's definitely going to be a weak point. And obviously we need Fikayo to be way better than what he was. Because if Fikayo and Kalulu are clicking, we're good. But on that right flank, you still have options with Dest.
And also in terms of your backup goalkeeper as well, what's your confidence levels with him? I can't really judge him off that one game against us.
I'm not confident at all. I'm very concerned about that. And I feel like that possibly dictated a change in play from Fikayo Tomori too, because I think if he had Maignan back there, they would be a little bit more expressive, a little bit more fluid. But with Tatarusanu there, they seemed a little bit more cagey and just trying too much to make sure the ball doesn't get to Cyprian. That what I think was a problem. So I'm still not feeling too good about that. But the San Siro atmosphere is just it's really something that makes you feel optimistic.
Yeah, and in terms of like your structure, I guess off the ball, you're not really going to press high up the pitch with Giroud. He's 36, going to be 37 next year. He's not got the capabilities to do that. Are you thinking at the San Siro, like you said, you're going to force the issue? You guys, how do you feel in terms of what's the mood like with the result? Do you feel like you need to win this game to right the wrongs? Are you going to play that high line with Tomori being quite quick? What kind of Milan do you think we're going to see from a shape standpoint in this match? Is it going to be quite full on, or because you did have quite, like you said, in the first part of that first half, you did have quite a bit of possession. Almost we were happy for you guys to have the ball, and we countered you in that mid block, and we kind of maybe tried to hit the space. And Chelsea are quite good at doing that, especially on big pitches. So what kind of mindset do you think you guys are going to be in? Do you think you might overcommit, or do you think it might be more of a joust and you might set off a little bit?
I think having lost 3-0, if I read it right, and considering the performance they had against Juventus, they do want a degree of a revenge. And I think Milan wants to score goals. So I think they're going to be pretty aggressive. Obviously, we have to pick up the 3 points tomorrow to be, in somewhat of a good position in the group. But you'd be surprised to see how Giroud plays at the San Siro. He does press quite a bit. So I think he'll still be doing that. And Milan will probably play a higher line and try and just hold on to possession and dictate the game.
There you go. Okay, well, this is going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it, especially at the San Siro. It's not somewhere we get to play often enough, unfortunately. So yeah, I think the away fans are absolutely doing a madness at Stansted to get there. And obviously, by the time this comes out, it will be on the day of the game in the morning for you guys to watch. Kush, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, bro. First time on the channel and recommended by one of the subscribers in the comments. So big up if you're watching this. I hope you're happy because it's been brilliant to get to know Kush and see his channel and bring him on here for the first time. You know, we love to get rival perspectives and we've had Juventus fans on. We've had so many different fans on when we play these teams in the group. So it's always fun. Bro, let them know where to find your channel. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on. Whoever recommended, I'm really happy that I think they probably recommended something to me too, because I think I may have connected with you too on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I think someone made this happen, and we appreciate it. Obviously, everyone can catch me on at the Milan Corner. All things Milan, reviews, previews, all that good stuff. So if you're a Milan fan or just a football fan in general, you can catch me at the Milan Corner.
There you go, guys. Well, guys, make sure you check him out. The link will be in the description as always and in the title. You can click the link there as well. And yeah, listen, we hope we win. I'm sure, obviously, he's hoping that he wins. So we're going to see what happens. But it's going to be a big game. And
I don't think you will. So
you don't. Oh, you know what? Okay, no. I have to ask. What is your score prediction? I have to ask your score prediction because now that you've said that, I have to make sure I get a score prediction.
I'm a little hesitant to do scores because I'll be honest, man. I predicted that my boy is not gonna date this girl for too long, and yesterday I was at his bachelor's, so that tells me that I'm not very good with my predictions. But what I will say is it's going to be high scoring, I believe, and there's no question that Milan wins tomorrow with Hernandez back.
Really, you're going to win?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, maybe we can chop it up if you know. If it doesn't happen. But no, I do believe it. I right now sitting here after Juventus 2-0, I think they'll win.
I'm going to predict Chelsea win. We're in good form. I think you guys are going to potentially overcommit, leave spacing behind, and we're going to just sit in and counter, which does suit us. I'm going to go over 2-1 Chelsea win. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'll get your predicted lineup.
I'm going 3-1 Milan.
Wow, there we go. Well, guys, you've got it. We squeezed him out. We squeezed the prediction out of him in the end there. Let me know your score predictions down below. Big game this evening, tonight. And yeah, big up, guys. In a bit, people. Peace. Come on.
Thank you.
And welcome back. So we've heard from Kush. We've heard from the AC Milan fan. His insight and analysis. And THEO Hernandez is the big point, the big strong suit to put into that team, AC Milan, and obviously rise the game of Rafael Leao, make that left-hand side a hell of a lot more dangerous, and that has to be paid respect and watched. And that's why my predicted lineup, like you saw, Reece James is over there, and Gallagher is also in this team, also to cover off that right-hand side and help. I liked what I saw from him in the game at the weekend. I felt like from a defensive standpoint, he helped us get the ball back instantly. His counter press was fantastic, but also on the ball, technically, he was very, very secure and calm and composed. And him and Mason Mount had that counter pressing role, and it helped us to double up and overload in that midfield. And it's something I would like to see again with Torlini, with Benacer, and with obviously the other AC Milan players in that central zones. So I would love to see how that goes and see if we can outnumber them. But if we don't outnumber them and they do have more possession, which is more than okay with me, happen in the first 10-15 minutes of Stamford Bridge, we simply counter. We don't have to dominate the ball. We're perfectly fine to play into space. You have the ball, false narrative. Let them think that they're dominating. Let them think that they're forcing the agenda, because they're going to. They want to respond. They want revenge. They lost 3-0. Let them think that they're dominating. Have the possession. Not too much, but have a little decent, respectable amount. And then we hit them on the break. We absolutely run through them and we counter with pace and precision. And that's what I want from the Masons, from the Ruben Loftus-Cheeks with the ball carrying, from the Covers. Obviously, Ruben's in there. It's not something I'm used to doing, but he's been disciplined under Potter. Clearly, the instructions are crisp and clear for him to hear. So let him stay there and do his thing. Now, obviously, defensively, it's very difficult for me to leave out Koulibaly. And of course, in the comments, I'm sure a lot of you are going to have Koulibaly in your team. Absolutely go for it. And also there's other players like Pulisic who could have got in this team. But I do want to see Sterling up against Dest. That is a weakness that was highlighted by Kush. And I would love to see how that goes. I really do feel like Sterling could have an absolute Mazzolini of a performance up against Dest. And we didn't really test Dest at Stamford Bridge. I want us to get Dest. Get him, book him early, and let's absolutely run at him and get loads of 1v1 situations. And even then, if Sterling's having a great game or he's done his job, 60 minutes in comes Pulisic, run him ragged again. Let's make Dest really feel the heat and pain on that right-hand side, or whoever plays on that right-hand side. Obviously, like was said, change of formation against Juventus, a little bit more of a Christmas tree. I'm looking forward to seeing how that looks. But like I said, defensively, if you go with those four players with Gallagher, Mount, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and Kovacic, then you're outnumbering any Christmas tree in the midfield. Do you know what I'm saying? You're going with a 3. Cool. Leao's probably going to pull off to the left. That's 4v4. Diaz is probably going to pull off to the right, so that's 3, and then that's 3v4. So for me, quick maths, that's how I'm seeing it. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below of your team. I feel like Silva's got to come in against his old club in the stadium that he's played in. Like I said, Koulibaly could have come in there, but I do feel like Koulibaly's been best in the central centre-back position. If we want to go to a 3, Cucurella slots in on the left-hand side, Trevor on the right. If you want to move back to a back 4, Reece James, Cucurella goes to full-back. So I think it works. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, whatever AC Milan pose in terms of whether they give us the ball or we counter, I think we're set up quite well to do it. Aubameyang up top with those goals. And like I said, there's so many players that are unlucky to miss out. But this is what we love to see. Bellissimo, eh? When the players are playing well, we don't know who to play. And it's a sticky, icky situation for the manager. It's not easy, but it's not my problem. That's for you, Graham, pothead, to deal with. And I'm just here chilling in my background, you know what I'm saying, loving life. So long may it continue. Big up your damn selves. You know my prediction on that graphic, 2-1. And like I said, hopefully we pick up the 3 points. I'm trying to top this group. I want to keep winning. Winning is wonderful. I look like Trump. What is, bro? In a bit, people. Make sure you smash up them damn icons. Peace.